Hello and welcome to the Unique CPA with your host, Terrell Turner. Bridging the Gap 2026 is coming soon, so we're bringing you conversations from last year's event. Stay tuned for the thoughts of top voices in the profession as we look forward to BTG Charlotte. The Unique CPA is brought to you by randycrabtree.com. Log on to learn more.
We appreciate Magnetic for supporting the Unique CPA. Most tax AI tools just read documents. Magnetic actually prepares the entire 1040 return for you, so your team just reviews and signs. Learn more at magnetictax.com.
Welcome to the Unique CPA podcast at Bridging the Gap 2025. I have the pleasure of sitting down with Randy Crabtree. Randy, welcome to your show.
Thanks for inviting me on my show. I really appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me to the conference.
Yes, absolutely. I even got you a chance to do a keynote speech.
You did, and I appreciate that.
Now, have you ever been a guest on your show?
I actually have.
Okay.
This is the fourth time I think I've been a guest on my show.
Okay.
So sorry, you're not my first. So.
Well, I will say is I'm the first to interview you at the Bridging the Gap 2025 conference.
You can say you're the first to interview me at any Bridging the Gap conference.
That works for me.
All
So
right.
I guess since we're here at the Bridging the Gap conference, can you talk us through what your theme or what was the real big driving thing you wanted to get out of this conference this year?
The overriding theme is always going to be mental health awareness. We're always going to have topics on that. So I always want that to be leaned into. And I think that's what attracts people the most. But on top of that, overall, it's just practice management. It is not doing things the way we did in the past just because we did in the past. There's new ways, new paths, new ways to, be more efficient, to integrate technology, to save time, to work with the clients we love working with, and not just try to help everybody. All those things that can make us better as a practitioner from a time management standpoint, but that all goes back to mental health as well. And we're not going to burn out if we do things like that.
I think that's resonating with a lot of people because even with last night with the happy hour and today, there are a lot of new faces that I've seen. So, how does the team feel about all these new faces coming to the Bridging the Gap community?
I am in awe of what's happened this year. The first 2 years of this conference, the conference was great. I enjoyed every single minute that we were at the conference, but I worked hard to get people at the conference. Brand new 1 year, you're doing a conference about what? Mental health awareness? Do I need to go to that? I don't know. And that was one of the three overriding themes the first year. This year, I didn't have to do anything to get anybody here. I honestly did not. I was hand selling the first 2 years, tickets. This year, I did nothing. And I'm just in awe of what the community, the Bridging the Gap community, the people that have been here the first 2 years have done by promoting it, have done by explaining why they come, explaining why it's, for many people, their favorite conference. Pinch myself. How is that even happening? But from all the new people, it's just, I can't even explain it. I've cried 5 times since I got here Sunday morning because I get all these messages or people coming up to me and saying, this conference is so important to me. This conference is what I need right now. And so having probably 110 people in the conference more than last year. I think last year we had 214 on site. This year, I think we're 325. I haven't got the final head count yet, but that's the number. It should be around there. I am just thrilled that I get to meet so many new people in the next 2.5 days and that people are finding value in this. That's so fulfilling to me.
I think that's a huge impact because I think there's so many different things going on in the industry now where people are waking up realizing that mental health is a much needed topic. And not just as hey, HR made us watch a video, but we actually have some substance to it, which brings me to your keynote speech. Mm-hmm. So, you and I talked before, but how long was that keynote speech in the works?
So the keynote, I honestly probably decided to do a keynote. And the first 2 years, I didn't do my own session at this conference. I purposely just wanted everybody else to do a session. We probably decided that I would do a keynote maybe in December or January, so 8 months ago. And then I started working on it immediately. So I've been working on this for at least since January. And we're sitting in July right now. I started working on this. And it really, the concept was there, what I wanted to talk about. I knew I couldn't figure out how to get it all to work together, but I had the bits and pieces. And actually, I was working with somebody on it. He helped me so much. And it was really the last 2 weeks where it came together. And honestly, some of it came together on stage today. I mean, it that last second like that. I mean, I was prepared no matter what. I practiced 8 times in the last 5 days probably, but the coming together really was just the last 2 weeks where it really started to sink in that this is the path, this is the journey, this is the where we're going to go with it.
Nice. I talked to a couple of people afterwards, and several people I asked, like, what did you think about the conference so far? They were like, well, the keynote made me cry. So it's like, I think we're off to a good start. So.
Cry because of emotional moments, cry because of decisions and things that happened to me during my life's journey and the journey that brought us all here. But there was a lot of crying at the end for positive impacts that were happening in my life. So I knew there was crying. We actually put tissues on every Kleenex on every table. And from what I could see standing on stage, there was a lot of people using those Kleenex. So it was, but I had so much fun. I enjoyed it. And the people, this sounds like I'm bragging or something, but I had so many people come up and use the word amazing. Mm-hmm. And that just makes me feel so good. But more so, I want that amazing, if that's what they want to call it, session, keynote, to have an amazing impact on them.
Mm. I mean, I think it has to do because a lot of people can connect and relate to the ups, the downs, the peaks and the valleys in your story. And so take us back to in time when you think about coming into the accounting industry. Were there any people in the past that kind of were vulnerable enough to share their story that you got to see, hey, this is the real journey that people are going through in this industry?
I've thought about that in the past. And so I can answer it this way. So I started at a small firm, and purposely, that's what I wanted to do. And the first small firm I worked at, 2 partners at this firm, and they were always open and honest. They weren't afraid to share things, and it might be a silly thing. Like I remember when the partner would say, when we go to lunch, and they take us all to lunch a lot, he'd say things like, I'm going to eat the things I don't like first to make sure I eat everything. And I'm like, okay, that's just goofy. But he was being authentic. He was being real. He's being himself. And so from a leadership standpoint, or even call it mentoring standpoint, not that that's what they were doing, they had a huge impact on me. It didn't hit me about the negative aspects of how somebody can manage a firm until I left them and went to another firm 2 years later. And man, that other firm all I was a billable hour. That's what I was to them. And it was completely different than what I saw in that first firm. And it just turned me off so much. And I was micromanaged. And I swore that's never going to be me. I'm never going to do that. And so just, I'll make this story short. I left that other firm really on a whim. I walked out at lunch one day and never went back. And I called the other 2 guys that I worked with first. And I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I left that firm, not expecting anything, but I wanted to let them know. And their first thing was, do you want to come back here? And this was January. This was tax season. Do you want to come back here? I said, I'll be there tomorrow. So that leadership, that taught me so much. And I'm still friends with those guys today.
Awesome. And I think that's what makes this conference so special, because I think there are a lot of people who have probably worked in like an environment like that second firm, and they've never experienced the first one.
Right.
To where like this conference gives them a view of like, oh, this is what it could be like. And so was that your vision when you guys came up with the idea of this conference?
The vision was, yes, to show that there's a better way. It really came out of the burnout aspect of the profession, that we have this mindset that we have to work so hard, that we have to help everybody, that we're only worth our time, not our knowledge. All those things came into it, and all those things can create burnout because we don't look at what's happening to us. We look at what's happening to others. And so, yeah, that type of micromanaging, because I'm a billable hour, that kind of thing, we wanted to show that did not have to be the way. There's other ways to do it. There's ways we can combat that. So yes, when I think about starting this conference, I often think back to that second firm I was at and in my mind, the awful way I was treated, and want to show people there's a better way. You don't have to do that. There's a way that we can change this profession. And my ultimate goal is to make this the greatest profession. It's it's a lot of work. I can't do it myself, but the greatest profession out there, that everybody wants to be an accountant, that everybody's going to see how fun it is. I want accounting to be fun. And if people see that, they're going to come into it. So that's really the ultimate goal for me personally and this conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got a lot of opportunity to really do that. I mean, there's so many people that we meet at this conference and just in the industry that have just talked about how accounting has really changed the trajectory of not only their life, but their family and the generational impact. So I think you're on to a good thing.
Well, let's hope so. And I'm seeing an impact. I'm seeing an impact just in general in the profession. I think I see a change happening. I'm seeing it grassroots changes happening, but I'm actually seeing it go up to even, larger firms where they're starting to see the change that are needed as well. And if we can keep doing that, I came up with a mission statement a couple of years ago. My mission is to have a positive impact on the lives of people in accounting by inspiring change. If we're status quo and we keep going the same way, we can't be innovative. We're never going to see a different way. We're never going to see a different path. We're never going to try something new. It's okay to fail because we learn from that. So if I can inspire change, I think that's one of the key things going to help us move forward as a profession.
Now, I know a lot of people who are probably listening or watching this wherever it's popping up are probably wondering, are they going to get a chance to hear that keynote speech themselves, or is it only exclusive for the people who are in the room?
It is taped. I know it'll be out there. I don't know when it'll be out there. I honestly am going to put it on my own website at some point in time. I was so excited about doing this. This is, in my mind, it's my favorite speech I've ever done. And so, yes, I'm going to make sure that that's out there. If you do watch it, you might want to grab some Kleenex.
Awesome. So one other thing that I wanted to talk about is with an event this, awesome, at an event this big, there are definitely a lot of hands behind the scenes working to bring it together. So I definitely wanted to give a chance for you to talk about, some of those hands behind the scenes and just your appreciation for the people who are constantly working. I mean, there are people behind the scenes in this room while we're recording.
There are. Yeah. So this doesn't happen if I was in charge. And we kind of heard that in my keynote. If I'm in charge, things may not happen. As you mentioned, Hisela is sitting right behind me. I can't function without her. So she is my executive assistant, and she keeps me going. Our whole marketing team is behind it. Mark and Chelsea and Haley and Crystal. Those four put in so much time and passion and effort to this. This doesn't happen without them. So that for sure. But it's the entire community that is here at Bridging the Gap that makes it a success and that creates the community that's here, because this is not a conference without the people that come to the conference. And the people that come to the conference are the ones that create the atmosphere around it, create the community, continue that going after they leave these walls and this hotel, and make new friends, and they collaborate and they support each other, and they just talk as often as they can. And I've heard these stories already from past conferences, and it just makes me so happy to see that we've created this community that exists after this 2.5 days.
So the last thing I want to ask is, as we wrap up, if you were sitting down talking to someone who has never been to a Bridging the Gap conference, because they're going to see this after the conference is over, so they need to look out for Bridging the Gap 2026. So if you're sitting down talking to someone, what would you tell them to say, hey, this is why you should show up?
And I kind of will go back to my keynote, because I know everybody, whether they want to admit it or not, they're looking for something different, not different profession, something in this profession, a different way. There's always ways we can be better. There's always ways we can figure out how to, course correct a misstep in our path that we took. And this conference, these sessions, these amazing speakers all have such interesting things to share. There's no way you can leave this conference without thinking, I can try that. I can attempt this. Doesn't mean it'll be successful. That's fine. You learn so much from a misstep or a wrong turn. Don't ever worry about that. You take that and then you learn from it and you move forward. So if you want to come to this conference and you want to see if there's a way that you can work 35 hours a week during tax season and get more out the door and have that work-life balance isn't a mythical thing. It's reality. So if you want to come to this conference and learn how others do it, I would highly encourage it. And honestly, we are sitting in the conference right now. We are getting inundated with emails of people who are having FOMO right now, sitting at home, sending us messages. Put me on the list for 2026. I want to make sure I don't miss next year's conference.
Awesome. Well, Randy, thank you for being a guest on your podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
And everyone who's listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And please be on the lookout for Bridging the Gap 2026.
Thank you for joining us today on the Unique CPA. You can find the show notes for today's episode and book Randy for your next keynote or event at randycrabtree.com. Remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating on your favorite podcasting app. And join us next time for more expertise and insights on the Unique CPA. ProfessionalProductions.net